Hey everybody, so today we're going to make a Google form for assignment 7. So what you'll need to do is you will need to be in your KGS account. So just to remind you that you should not be in your Gmail here. You should be in your KGES account here. If you are in your Gmail, just sign out and then sign back in using your KGS password and email. Okay? So then what you'll need to do is in your Google Drive, you'll need to be wherever it is that you want to be. Computers 170, I'm in my drive, Computers 170 assignments. You can create this form wherever you want. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go New, and we are going to go More, and we are going to go Google Forms. Okay. You may or may not get this message. If you don't get it, don't worry about it. I'm getting it because I'm creating the Google form in a folder that's already shared, and it just wants me Google Drive just wants to make sure that that's okay. And I'm going to say yes. And so then the first thing we need to do is we need to give our form a name, right? No untitled anything in Google. So I'm going to call this just class survey, and as soon as you hit enter or return, it will name the form right here as well. So there it is now. And then the next thing that you need to do is you need to give a description to your users about how or what you want them to do with the form. So please complete the questions below and submit this form when you are done. Okay, something like that. Okay. So now the next thing in our checklist that we need to do is we are going to end up with a minimum of 6 questions. You can create as many as you want, and of course if you're in a classroom setting already, you can use this for something that is actually real life if you want. Okay, so by default, and I just clicked down here, by default Google Forms creates multiple choice questions. If we click down the little drop down, you'll see that you're able to create short answer, paragraph questions, which they can students can basically could type an essay in if they wanted. Multiple choice questions, again, which are the default. Checkbox questions, drop down menu questions, and linear scale questions. There are these other 2 types of questions that you can do, but we're not going to worry about them or cover those in this video. That's kind of a more advanced skill. Okay, so the very first thing on any survey or on any Google form that you want, especially when you're gathering data, is to have your first 2 questions as short answer questions. Also, that yours may not be turned on yet, but this needs to be turned on, so it's required. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to give this first short answer question, we're going to call it first name. Okay, and that's so I want to know the person who's filling this survey. I want to know their first name. And now I could go to the plus sign and add another question, but because the next question is going to be exactly like this, but it's just going to say last name, I can actually duplicate the question, and then here I can just change this to last name. Okay, and again, make sure that your question is turned on to be required. Okay, and so now when the user clicks on this form to put in the answer the questions, they'll see this little red star right here showing that it's required. So when you start creating questions in a Google form, one of the things you can do, and that I do all the time, is go, what's this going to look like to the user? So you can click on this little eyeball up here and preview it. and then it will show you, so far, what your form looks like. So again, the red star means it's required, and it's showing that we turned those 2 questions on. So it's a good way for me to check also that I've done it correctly, okay? Now, one little tip is that if you're going to check your Google form frequently, make sure that when you're done, you close the tab, because every time that you hit an eyeball, it will create another tab. And if you go back and you hit the eyeball again, it'll just keep creating more and more tabs, right? So when you're done with it, the preview mode, then you can close it and then come back to the survey that you're creating in. Okay, so the other kinds of questions that we're going to add are short answer, which we've got already, a paragraph question. Now I can add, I just click the plus sign here, I can add or change it to a paragraph question, and I'm just going to leave this one for later, okay, because I usually put my paragraph questions at the bottom, okay, and then I'll show you how we can also, using these little dots, we can reorder our questions. So then the next question I am going to add, or that you're required to add, is a multiple choice question. So this is your survey, and you can ask any question you want. If this was a class survey, we could ask, I'm going to ask a question, which is your favorite food? Okay, so I'll put a U in there to make it happy. Oops. There we go. And then it gives us the option or the ability to create our options for the user. So, and what I might just do here too is just go from the list below, comma, which is your favorite food? Because you're going to get a student saying, well, mine's not on there, right? So, and then we can put in our choices, right? So pizza, hot dogs, hamburgers, hamburgers, and let's say, how about a chicken burger? And you can, again, put anything you want in here. Okay, so that's our multiple choice question. Again, I'm going to make it required. Okay, so again, either yours might be like this. You just need to click on so that it turns purple. And then I'm going to go to my eyeball again, and I'm going to see what that looks like. So there's my paragraph answer that I will use. Now, I've already headed down the direction here of I think this is going to be a class survey for like a party or something like that for my class. So I'm going to stick to that theme, and then, and I'm just going to click here, and I'm going to add my next question. And again, remember, it automatically puts in a multiple choice question. And so what we're going to do now is we are going to go and we're going to use checkboxes for this one. Okay, so checkboxes, multiple choice, and drop down are pretty much the same. So here I'm going to say from the list below again. What is your preferred drink? Okay, and so we can put in chocolate milk, pop, juice, or water. Okay, and then because they're check boxes, from the list below, what is your preferred drink? Oh, and the other thing we're going to do here, sorry, is we're going to say, please check only one. Okay, and then if we go to our eyeball to preview it, what you'll see is that it looks like that. So what they could essentially check them all. That's why I put in the please check only one, right? So that's what it would look like for the end user. Okay, and because it's a required question, there it will turn red, and it also will not let the user submit their form unless all the required questions are answered. Okay, so far it looks good. Yes, I do want to leave. Okay, so I've got that, And now I'm going to add a new question. And on this one, we're going to do a drop-down menu. And then I'm going to do the same idea from the list below, comma, choose your favorite treat. Okay. And again, it kind of looks like a multiple choice. So here we're going to go chips, popcorn, licorice, and chocolate bar. Okay, and on a drop down or any of these, you can add as many as you want. And I'm going to go back to the eyeball now, and I'm going to see what my drop down looks like. So from the list below, choose your favorite treat, and if they click that, then they can choose one of those things. Okay, so I'm going to close the tab up, and again, remember to also make sure your question is required. Okay, and then the last type of question we're going to add is a linear scale. Another name for a linear scale question is a Likert scale, and we've all done these before, where you can rate from 1 in this case to 10. Okay, and good survey making shows that you should give them 5 options is the preferred method. Some other research will say 6, and actually some says 4. So I go in the middle and say 5. Okay, so with this question, we could ask, I'm going to say, which is the best day for our party? Okay, and okay, I rethought this here. So I'm gonna change that and say on the scale below, tell me how much you want to have this class party. Okay, and then we go to 1 to 5. So 1 will be not at all, or something like that. And again, you can make anything you want here. And here I'll just say can't wait. Okay, so you don't get any other choices here. So let's go to the eyeball and see what it looks like. Okay, all right. So if we scroll down now, you can see what they get. They get they get to rank it. So on the scale below, tell me how much you want to have this party. 1 is not at all. 5 is can't wait. And of course, they get some other choices. Okay, maybe not the best question, and again, you can put any question you want. All right. So this survey, I'm going to leave again. It doesn't matter. We've met all the requirements for the types of questions. And on our checklist, one of the other things it says that we need to do is you need to add me as a collaborator. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to click these 3 dots right here, and you're going to go add collaborators. And then what you're going to do down here is you're going to type in my KGES email like that, and you're going to give me editing privileges. Okay, and then you can say notify people, and you can then just say send. Okay, and when you click send, then it will send this like an invitation to me in my KGES Gmail account. Okay, now I'm not going to send an invite to myself, so I'm going to cancel it, but you will hit send. Okay, all right, and then done. All right, so then in our list as well, it says that we need to have some images. Okay, so it says you should have an accompanying image, and adding images are really, really easy to do. So if I click back on my tile, oh, you know what I want to do first, sorry, is I want to put this paragraph question at the bottom of my survey, and then I'm just going to put, is there anything else you would like to suggest. How's that sound? Okay. And then, although it's a long answer paragraph, again, the user, if we go to the eyeball, the user doesn't know that. They don't know whether it's a short answer or a long answer. And they'll know it's a short answer when they can't type anymore. So that's really the difference between a short answer and a long answer, is that short answer allows you to only type a little bit, and a paragraph one allows you to type pretty much as you want. Okay? All right. So we've added me as a collaborator. We're going to do those images. Okay? So I'm just going to click on my first line here of where it says pizza, and I'm going to click on the little add an image icon, and then it's going to say from where. So I'm just going to go to Google Drive. No, actually, I'm going to go to search, and I'm going to search, I'm just going to type in the word pizza, and then I'm going to say search. And then it comes in with all kinds of different choices, obviously, because you're doing a Google image search. And you know what? This one is just as good as any. So I'm going to click it, and gets a thick blue line around it and say select. Okay, so it adds that in there. And I'm going to do the same thing for each one of the other types of food here. So I'm going to just mouse over hot dogs, click on it, say search, and type in hot dogs. And I will add in, how about hot dogs like that. Okay, so I'm going to do that for all of my food here, all of my drinks here, and all of my treats down here. But I'm not going to make you watch me do that. So I'm going to pause the video, add my images, and then come back and talk about the next steps. Okay, we'll talk to you in a minute. So I've got my first section done, and I just wanted to mention one other thing is if you can get pictures that are about close to the same size, when you preview it, it will lay it out in a really nice kind of way. If your pictures are too big or weird shapes and sizes, it won't. I like it when it puts them like this in sort of this, 4 squares kind of. It may display it differently if you've got weird and wacky kind of sizes. So anyways, I'm going to pause it again, and I'm going to finish off the rest of my pictures for my treats, and then I'll be back. All right, so as you probably noticed, you can't add pictures to the drop-down menu. That was my bad. I should have mentioned that to you. You can add one, with your text here. I don't usually do it. I find that it kind of messes things up a little bit. Okay, so now if I look at mine using the preview mode, I've got my first name and last name is required, which food they can choose here, their favorite drinks here, and then from the list below, choose your favorite treat. We've got that. Now, if you wanted, for this assignment, you have to have a drop-down menu. But I mean, if you're going to do this for in this school setting, you might actually not want to use a drop-down question and might maybe use a different one, either again the multiple choice or the checkbox. So you can see how multiple choice and checkbox are pretty much the same thing. Okay, and then so they've got their favorite treat. They still have that, and then their final question. And now what I would like you to do is I'd like you to add, I'm just going to close this tab and go back. We need to add, or I want you to show me that you know how to add a video. So that's what we're going to do next. All right, so to add our video, now again, you might want to add it where it kind of makes sense. What we could do is, I'm just going to add it at the bottom, okay? Or actually, I might add it right around here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure that this is my chosen tile, right? And remember, you can move them around by grabbing the little dots. So all I'm going to do is say add a video. And it's going to say, well, what do you want to search? Now, you can add any kind of video you want, as long as it's PG-13 and it's not inappropriate. Okay, so I mean, I'm going to put a music video in, and so I just need to do a video search for ghost, and it might take a second here. Right on. Okay, so I want to see which one I like the most. So I'm going to pause it again, and then I will be right back. All right, so I found the video I want. So you can search a video just like this. So just do a video search. I actually copied down the URL for mine, so I'm just going to paste it in there. And then I'm going to say select. Okay, and then I'm just going to put in music for our party. All right. And the other thing that you can do is, see how you get this circle here with the 3 dots, is you can center that, or put it, align it however you like. I like centering it. So let's see what that looks like in preview mode. Okay. So music for our party, and then in the preview mode, if you click on it, it'll bring the video up. And if you obviously want to watch it on YouTube, you can click that. Okay. And I'm just going to stop it because I want to start it actually where the music is. Okay, change of plan. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on that, and I want to get rid of it. This sec here. So I'm just going to remove it, and then I'm going to add the video again. And again, I copied the URL from YouTube, so I'm just going to paste it in there and say select. And then I'm going to go center align, and I'm going to say again, music for our party, period. And then down here, I'm going to change this and say, is there a song you would like to suggest for the party? Okay, so that makes it a little bit better. And now it's changed to a short answer. I can change. I'm going to make it a paragraph to give them again the ability to put in as much as they want. The other thing is, I'm not going to make this one a required question. Okay, because if otherwise we're forcing them to suggest something. Maybe they don't want to, or maybe they don't care. Okay, so if I'm going to go back to our list, we've got, oh yes. So another thing, so basically now, let's just take one more preview of it. And basically now we are done the class survey. One last kind of couple little finishing touches. So one is that I can change, using this color palette tool, I can change the color of my form to any color here that I want. Or what I can do is click on the picture, and Google Forms will give you some suggestions. So if I chose the Jelly Bee one, I'll just show you what that will look like here in a sec. It changes. So it changes, lots of things in it. Maybe this is the one you want to use. The other option too is, so they have lots of different things here. So, you can go to the party theme and find one that might be appropriate for the age group of kids that you are working with. There's one here, just kids. And then, of course, it gives you the option to upload your own photos if you want. And I'm going to go with the ladybugs. I like that one. Okay, so again, it'll change it up here. Changes kind of the overall theme as well. And then we need to, now we need to organize our data. So we're going to do a couple other things here to sort of finish off our survey. If we go under the gear, there's 2 tabs that are really important for us to work on. We're not going to use the quizzes one because we're not making a quiz. Is if we collect people's email addresses, which we don't have to because they're putting in their first and last name anyways, so we don't need to check that one on, but the general tab and the presentation tab are the ones that we want to use under settings. And then are we going to require students to, or restrict students only coming from our school that can fill in the form? If you want it just for our school, you can check that on. If you want them to be able, well, pretty much like anybody, to be able to submit this, then what you could do is you can click it on or leave it off, I mean, for anybody, or you can click it on to restrict it. Okay, I am going to leave it on for now. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to limit them to one response because I don't want anybody voting, you know, more times than once. Will they be able to edit their survey after they submit it? I'm going to say no. They don't need to edit it. It's a pretty simple survey, so there isn't anything in there that they'd have to go back and think about. Okay, and then the other one here, and we're not doing the bottom one either. Okay, we're going to go up to presentation here, and there are some choices here that you can use. We don't actually need any of these. I mean, it's a very simple survey and it's short, so that there's not going to be a progress bar showing them, you know, how far they got to go before they're done. It doesn't make any sense to shuffle the question order. Really, that's one that is when you're doing a quiz. That's a good one to use. But the one thing that I do want you to do is I want you to change the confirmation message. So what I want you to do is I want you to type in, you know, anything that you want again, other than what's your response has been recorded, the one that comes on every form. I'm just going to say thanks for responding. Period. I am looking forward to our class party. Period. You all deserve it. Okay. And then I'm going to say save. So that's the message that they will get when after they hit submit. Okay, and we'll walk through the completed form as well, so you can see that. All right. So got that, and we've got that. So we've got a couple things left to do. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the responses tab now, and you can see, obviously, that nobody's responded to my survey yet. For your assignment, you need to have 3 people respond. Okay, so we all have to help each other out. Okay, and you have to have your form so that it's accepting responses. So, you know, in the classroom setting, you might say, well, we're having our party next Wednesday. Everybody needs to have their form filled out and their choices made by Friday. And then after Friday, you could turn it off, and then no one else will be able to add anything on it. But right now, we want to keep it so that it's accepting responses. These 3 little dots aren't that important for us right now. I mean, the one that you could click on if you wanted was get an email every time somebody responds, but that means that, you know, if you've got 30 kids in your class, you're going to get 30 emails saying, oh, geez, you know, so-and-so has responded. I'm not going to click that one on. But we do need to click this button, because with a survey or with any Google form, you can link it to a spreadsheet. And why that's good is that it can help you sort the information after. I mean, you will have, once you have people who've responded, when they click on responses, you will see what they've said down here, kind of in a summary kind of way. But I want you to link this spreadsheet as well. So if we click the little green button here, it's going to say create a new spreadsheet, and it's going to be whatever you called your survey, and then in brackets behind it, responses. And this will also be located wherever you created the class survey. It'll be right there with it in the same part of your Google Drive. So I'm going to say create, and then what that does is it opens up Google Sheets. Now, I recommend that you only create the spreadsheet at the end when you're pretty much done your form, because if you create it now and then make some changes, it kind of messes up the order of, or it can mess the order of the things up here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, the other thing that I'm just going to do, we're going to do a couple quick things here, is for this first row, just click on the number 1, and that will select the entire row. Then I don't care what font you choose, but I'm going to use a 12-point font just so it's a little bit bigger. I'm going to make the questions bold. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to horizontally align them, vertically align them, and I'm also going to wrap the text. And then that looks it starts shaping up really nice. There's no point on changing any kind of stuff down here, because when your people complete your Google survey and submit it, Google just puts in a generic font in here, and you could do it afterwards. Everybody's responded, but doing it now is just a waste of time. Okay? Okay, I know this has been 30 minutes, but it'll help that it's explained. So in what we have left really to do now is we need to submit this. Okay, so let's pretend we've got our 3 responses, and you've done all the other things here, and so now you're ready to submit it through the Google the assignment tool. Okay, so what you're going to do with your completed survey is you're going to click the eyeball, and you're going to get this page. Okay, so for Google Forms, submitting them to Classroom is just a little bit different than it is with other types of Google Docs. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this URL, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to our Classroom, so whichever section you're in. I just happen to be in section B, so that's fine. Okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to log out of this account, and I'm going to show you what this assignment will look like from a student's point of view. Okay? So just hold on for 1 sec. All right, so what we're going to do now is we are going to go to assignments. And of course you saw it there in the stream, but it's right at the top because I just put it in there. So it's always good just to go over to assignments. There are the 2 sort of sheets or whatever that you need. Kind of the checklist and then the marking guide if you want. And then what you're going to do as a student, you can see it says that you're not done this assignment. So what you're going to do is you're going to go open, and then what you're going to do is you're going to add a link. So you're going to actually do 2 things. One is you're going to add a link, okay? And that link that you're going to add, again, is from your Google survey that we just created in preview mode. You can see at the end, you'll know you're in preview mode if it says /view form on the end there. Okay, and that's, if you've read through the sort of checklist, you'll see that it's there. Okay, and then so what we want to do though is we want to grab that whole link and copy it. Okay, and then I'm going to go back here and I'm going to paste that link in Google Classroom, and I'm going to say add link. Okay, and then it adds that, and then the other thing, remember we created this spreadsheet, right? And what we need to do is we need to go to assignment back here, and we're going to go add. This time we're going to go from Google Drive, and it's going to say, well, what do you want to add? Now, if you're lucky enough, it'll be in your recents, which comes up the first thing. If it doesn't, you're going to have to search your drive, but mine's right there, so I'm just going to say add. Okay, and you can see now that there's 2 things. There is the Google form that you sent me, and then there is the spreadsheet that goes along with it. So you have to have those 2 things included before you click the Turn It In button. Okay, so when you click Turn In, it's going to ask you, are you sure? And then just before you hit Turn It In, one of the things that you need to sort of just know is that after you turn it in, it gives me temporary ownership of that assignment or that document until it's marked and I send it back to you. Okay, so I'm going to turn it in, and well, actually, just before I do that, I'm just going to show you something here. So just look right in this general area here. When we come back to this form, it's going to say view only up here. Okay, because you're going to be turning it in, and you're not going to be the owner anymore. Okay, so watch. I'm going to go turn in, and nothing magical happens other than it shows you now here that you are done and that you have submitted it. So you can always unsubmit an assignment up to including the due date on it. And again, it's due on March 9th at 11:59 p.m. You can see that right here. And so from a student end of things, that's it. You are now done the assignment. And if you have any questions or comments, all you need to do is send me a text message through Remind or drop me an email through my KGES email. All right. Anyways, thanks for listening, and I hope this helped.